Good evening. This is Monday, March 10th, 239 days until the 2008 presidential election. In a span of 48 hours, Senator Clinton has gone from trying to poach some of Senator Obama's support by hinting he might be her choice for the vice presidency, and a vote for her now might be a vote for both of them later. She's gone from that to having her chief strategist say that right now, anyway, Obama has not passed whatever qualification test for vice president the Clinton campaign has, but maybe he can later. Perhaps he has to take the SATs. In the same time span, Senator Clinton has gone from referencing the two kinds of delegates, pledged and super, to inventing a third category all her own, caucus delegates, even though her victory in Nevada was in a caucus and her victory in New Mexico was in a caucus and primary hybrid. Our fifth story on the countdown, Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote it in 1841, "A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. Whatever else you may think of her, Hillary Clinton's is not a little mind." In a new interview with Newsweek, Senator Clinton tackling the question of how she can still win the nomination when the delegate math looks so bleak for her. Quote, "It doesn't look bleak at all. I have a very close race with Senator Obama. There are elected delegates, caucus delegates, and super delegates, all for different reasons, and they're all equal in their ability to cast their vote for whomever they choose. Even elected and caucus delegates are not required to stay with whomever they are pledged to. This is a very carefully constructed process that goes back years, and we're going to follow the process." Earlier in the same interview, in response to the question if at the end of the primaries and caucuses, Senator Obama still has a lead in elected delegates and only super delegates would give Senator Clinton the margin to capture the nomination, might that hurt her in a general election? Senator Clinton responding, quote, "Well, I don't think we should speculate on what's going to happen. I think we should just proceed with the next up contests." In other words, pay no attention to that woman behind the curtain. And so the delegate math that has the former First Lady inventing new categories of delegates, pledged delegate count after Senator Obama's landslide victory in the Wyoming caucuses Saturday, Obama 1,379, Clinton 1,230. Yet NBC News political director Chuck Todd pointing out that even when those now redefined tertiary level caucus one delegates are subtracted from the equation, Senator Obama still has a lead in pledged delegates, albeit a very small one. Senator Obama getting 12 more delegates in the primary contests than did Senator Clinton. That's 1,008 to 1,076. As for Senator Clinton's contention that Senator Obama has not passed her so-called threshold to be commander-in-chief, top military advisors to the Obama campaign today holding a news conference to discuss why they believe the senator has demonstrated the judgment and accumulated the experience to be commander-in-chief. Two of those advisors, the former secretaries of the Navy and the Air Force during the Clinton administration. Meanwhile, at a campaign rally in Mississippi where polls are opening only hours from now, Senator Obama addressing his own readiness to be commander-in-chief.
And the reason I'm running to be commander-in-chief is because I believe that the most important thing when you answer that phone call at 3 in the morning is what kind of judgment do you have? Not how long you've been in Washington, but what kind of judgment do you have when you're answering that phone? And I believe that I have shown better judgment than Senator Clinton. I believe I offer a clean break from the policies of George Bush, because Senator Clinton went along with George Bush on the war in Iraq. Senator Clinton went along with George Bush on her willingness to try to saber rattle when it came to Iran. She has gone along with many of the conventional ways of thinking about foreign policy that have gotten us into trouble.
Heading into the trouble that is tomorrow's Mississippi primary. A quick look at where things stand poll-wise. Senator Obama with a 14-point lead, according to the most recent Rasmussen poll there. Obama 53, Clinton 39, exceeding our Keith number of not sure plus the margin of error at 12%. By the way, I'm beginning to regret calling that number what I called it. Senator Obama also recapturing the lead over the weekend in the Gallup daily tracking poll nationally, 49-44. The uncertainty quotient there is 9%. Let's turn now to our own Chuck Todd, as we mentioned, political director of NBC News and MSNBC. Chuck, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
All right, first there was it's almost hard to remember when it was, Clinton's campaign bid to create automatic delegates. That phrase did not really catch on.
Right.
They're now trying to make a distinction between pledged delegates and caucus delegates. The Pennsylvania governor, Ed Rendell, on Meet the Press yesterday tried to say that caucuses were undemocratic. Something is afoot here. What is it? Is it long range? Is it the prospect of disqualifying caucus delegates? Is it designed to prevent a Michigan caucus? What's going on underfoot?
Well, I think it's all a part of. I mean, it's all part of this campaign. I think by the Clinton folks to figure out a plausible way to make the case to superdelegates that it's okay to overturn the pledged delegate lead. And I think one of the ways that they have figured out is, okay, what if they somehow eliminate the caucus delegates, create a third category, so that she can win pledged delegates on the primary front? Well, the problem with there is obviously, and I went ahead and did the math. I was curious. Let's see where they're going here. I figured had Clinton been ahead already, we probably would have gotten a spreadsheet from them saying, look, on primaries, she's won more delegates. His lead is based on the caucuses. So I think what they're hoping is if Michigan and Florida end up having a revote, and you have Pennsylvania, that they will get to a point with the primaries that she will catch up. But actually, when you look at what's coming next, I don't know if that's possible. He's going to extend his primary lead, pledged delegate lead, tomorrow, and I hesitate to even call it that, a regular pledged delegate lead. But tomorrow with the Mississippi primary, he'll extend it when he wins in Oregon and when he likely wins in North Carolina. So they may never even catch him there, but I think it's one of the things they're hoping to do. They want to catch him in the popular vote and catch him in at least one of these categories of delegates so they can make a case to the superdelegates to overturn.
Are they getting hints from the superdelegates? Convince us? Is it based on that, or is it at all a listening job, or is this purely a sales job?
Oh, I think it's purely a sales job. Look, these superdelegates are mostly elected officials. They're mostly folks that are worried about what their next job is going to be. They're, as a couple people have put it, most of them are spineless at the end of the day, and they're going to be under whatever the last pressure they get is the pressure they'll crumble under. And if that's a case that somehow Obama's not as electable, which ultimately I think is where the Clinton folks have to go with this. They have to somehow hope that between now and the time the superdelegates make their decision, Obama's trailing McCain and she's not. Because really, that's the ultimate test here for these superdelegates. They have to decide who will be the strongest nominee and not who will be the best president, because their job is probably to look out for the Democratic Party first.
Chuck, even as Senator Clinton hinted at that caucus delegate distinction in the interview with Newsweek, her spokesman, Phil Singer, was mailing TalkingPointMemo.com an email that said that Hillary's camp will not pursue Obama's pledged delegates. There was a hint about this a month ago. Senator Clinton never told Newsweek outright that she would be pursuing pledged delegates. Should we be filing this away for later reference, depending on what happens in Pennsylvania and North Carolina and so on?
Look, I think this idea that somehow either campaign can woo somebody else's pledged delegate, if you've done your job as a candidate, I mean, the person that you assign, that the campaign picks to be its representative as a delegate from the state of, say, Missouri, is going to be the person that mows the word Obama or mows the word Clinton in the side of their head via, some sort of haircut mechanism, or puts it in their front lawn. These people are rabid. So the idea that somehow they would be able to be easily wooed. A superdelegate, on the other hand, I think can easily be wooed, because they are always looking out for the, the next political deal. But not these pledged delegates who the campaigns pick.
Chuck Todd, political director of MSNBC and NBC News, and hairstylist to the political stars.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chuck.
You got it, Keith.